Hello and welcome. We are continuing on our journey today, sailing across the seven seas, as we continue with our series of our Pirates of the Caribbean films. And today is our third one that we're talking about, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End was released in 2007, so exactly 1 year after the second one was released. You know at this point that they have a continuous story, and it's kind of reminding me of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where every detail goes within each other, because within this one, even though it is literally all over the place, it does wrap up at the end and everything does come together. And even with the first one, it happens, and the second one, and everything happens all over, but everything ends up connecting at the end. And it's not as action-packed on the edge of your seat as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, but it's still an enjoyable time. And we have the same cast again, and this time we open up to the plot of the British trying to kill off all pirates in any pirate sea, and we are introduced to the song
They've started to sing.
Hoist Your Colors, which I know from various a cappella arrangements, but I didn't realize it was from the third one. So it was cool to revisit. And I've seen this before, I've seen it in theaters, but I honestly had no remembrance at all to any of this film except for the end. I knew at the end what was going to happen, that's what I remembered, but beforehand, I had no idea anything about this film. And it kind of seemed familiar, but it's been so long since I watched it that I was basically seeing it for the first time. It actually takes a lot of time for us to be reintroduced to Jack in this film, for him to make his entrance, and the whole purpose of the first third of the film is them trying to go from Singapore to the end of the world to get down to Davy Jones' locker to save Jack, because Jack was killed off by a Kraken in the last one, and now he's down in Davy Jones' locker and they have to save him. Everything's promising. It's a great serious story and you're involved, and then as soon as Jack comes on screen, you're just questioning what's happening and where is this movie taking its direction, because it gets very strange and out of place and all over very quickly. But the one really cool thing that I loved is they did legitly put in the audio from the attraction in a couple seconds. And that was really awesome that we have "Show 'em your love" aside, because that's one of my favorite quotes from the attraction, honestly. So it was a really cool little Easter egg that they threw in there in between, but it got really strange until we got to the end of the movie. Everything was really all over the place. It's a lot of various family drama, and Will and Jack and Elizabeth all have their different motives for what they want to get out of everything, and a lot of the scenes were very, very long, and the entire movie is very, very long. It's almost 3 hours. It's the longest of the pirate films, and whereas the other two pirate films were more of 2 hours and 30 minutes, even though those are very long, they did have a lot of story to cover, but I feel like we could have cut a lot of scenes out of this one and still had the basic story of it. There's too many features or all over the place that kind of took too much time to discover, and the payoff wasn't the best because I'm just waiting to get to the end. The final third of the film wraps up amazing. Like I've said, it does come together and you're back on waiting to know what happens, but the middle of the film is very draggy in my opinion. The end payoff does make it worth it though, but it's definitely not the best out of the trilogy. And it's not a trilogy because we still have 2 more, but I feel like this is a trilogy because this is the 3 films that revolve around Elizabeth, Will, and Jack. Whereas the 4th and 5th films, I don't think they're in it. I think only Jack is in it, but I haven't watched those 2 yet, so this will be my first time seeing those. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow with the 4th one. So you can stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.